I really wanted to create something so that that one lone Taiwanese American kid in Kansas could just Google one day and be like, oh my gosh, there's a whole new Taiwanese American community out there that I had never known, and really kind of feel like they were part of it and be inspired by it, and maybe that would motivate them to go and do pretty awesome things with their life and become the next generation of stories. So in my mind, that was my internal motivation for doing that work in the beginning, but it's cool that doing those stories.
I feel like I'm a product of work like that, and I feel very grateful.
先听一下那个左耳。Coach, can you just talk regularly? I just want to double check your
Testing. 1, 2, 3. My name is Ho Chi Tsai. I am the founder of TaiwaneseAmerican.org. As you know, TaiwaneseAmerican.org is a non-profit and a platform to help promote and elevate the Taiwanese American community as we continue to grow in America.
I'm Leona. I am the editor-in-chief of TaiwaneseAmerican.org and the author of Book of Horror, a docu-poetry collection about Taiwanese American identity.
So I founded the website in 2006, and by 2010 we were rolling enough with a real website. Anna Wu was one of my co-collaborators helping us kind of revamp the website, and she actually helped with the 100 Passionate People project. So it was 2010 that we launched that first iteration of that for Asian Heritage Month, actually, in the month of May. And I remember our goal was, can we get 3 people every day in the month of May, and by the end of the month they can feature like 100 profiles. And actually, I remember that was a rough month, that goal. Trying to, like, who can we find? It was easy to get to the first 50, but after that we're like, who can we find? We need to find some interesting, diverse stories within our community. But it turned out awesome. You know, we had someone as young as Leona, who was a high school student. High school or junior high?
I was in junior high at the time.
Junior high at the time, but I could
I
tell
saw
she
the
was,
profile. I was like, wow.
but she was a young leader for like her Taiwan Center, Taiwan school sort of programs. And then we also got some first generation featured as well who are active in the community here. So it spans everywhere in between. If you actually look at the list today, there's a lot of folks who become rising stars and everything. So it's kind of cool that we started that way.
I got to grow up with TaiwaneseAmerican.org, so it came out in its first iteration when I was a kid. And then with projects that he described, like it was called 100 Passionate People, where he profiled 100 passionate Taiwanese Americans across various industries, backgrounds. And then for me, as a 9, 10-year-old preteen at the time, it meant that I had 100 different role models that were specifically Taiwanese Americans and would speak to things like, how do you explain a creative pursuit to your parents who are maybe more traditional? Or how do you bring your Taiwanese American influences into pursuits that maybe are not linearly related to that?
Growing up in this area where you went to Taiwan school, which was inadvertently, there was a lot of emotion behind it. And then going out into now where Taiwanese and everything, people don't know the history as much. People know about the bubble tea and the night markets. And how has that been from your point of view?
I think my cross-section is very unique, and I didn't realize that until I left for college. But to your point, like I got to go to Taiwan school. I was around people, elders who had made that calculated trade-off in the 80s and 90s and decided that speaking up was worth the risk for them. Growing up in this little bubble where Taiwanese identity is inherently very political, and then you experience it by having a political perspective, by having political context for the different decisions and neuroses of the people around you. I think to go from that to a place where Taiwanese identity was one aspect of social organizing was very strange for me, and I didn't really understand it. But with time and perspective, I've learned that not everyone gets the background and context that I have, and they just want to be around people who share elements of their background with them, who maybe look like them to some degree. And so I feel really lucky that I got to have that all my life. And so I can empathize and understand with what a lot of more social-focused Taiwanese organizations are trying to do. I think it's important work. And then I hope that if that evolves into a curiosity about Taiwanese identity or being Taiwanese American, our SEO relevance is very good as TaiwaneseAmerican.org, and hopefully we are producing content that is resonant with them or that answers their questions or makes them feel like they're worth asking. Something I'm very proud of publishing recently is a lot of work about how things like food or parent-daughter relationship has helped them understand their culture a lot more. And so like it's easy to derive some aspects of organization. It's just bubble tea, but there is something to learn from that bubble tea. It brings people together in a way that's still meaningful and profound. And then from that, if there are more conversations to be had, like I think that's a great opportunity.
Yeah, and I will add that I think there's nothing wrong with Taiwanese American groups being social, because I describe a period when really we were just trying to start the seeds of the organizations, and the memories of starting those organizations, it wasn't actually really smooth. You know, like if you think about it, we're trying to create something fresh, new. But in some sense, we were just really trying to start something for ourselves.
Yeah.
But the social aspect is pretty important. I think as your community matures and the people and the networks grow, you want to be able to have those social networks. Nothing wrong with that. It's like that's where you start, because that's maybe where you start to ask the questions about, oh, there's something really unique about being Taiwanese, or maybe I need to learn more about the stories of food and the culture and maybe my family and their history. Because I feel like the term Taiwanese American is so much broader these days, more encompassing of any identity that really kind of finds some sort of roots in Taiwan, no matter what your history is or what your family's role in those history were. That it just becomes something that we can really kind of navigate together in a broader sense, especially as Taiwanese Americans in this country. It's something I see it now, and I totally appreciate, and I wish it was different for me when I was growing up, right? So, but that's part of the drive to do this work, or at least for me, to create that sort of seed of the environment, so that in the future, kids would feel like they belonged and be okay just to be who they are. You know, I hope to preserve some of that Taiwanese as well.